Well, New York City's world-famous Metropolitan Museum of Art is getting a major facelift. We are about to meet a rising star of the architecture world who's leading the $500 million project, Frida Escobedo. The 43-year-old Mexican architect leaped over the competition to redesign the Met's new modern art wing. CBS News correspondent Enrique Acevedo met Escobedo at the museum to talk about her work and what it means to be the first woman and the first Latina to design a wing of that institution.
I was coming very often here, and I remember that this was completely different.
Frida Escobedo's not looking to compete for real estate in one of the world's most famous skylines. She's more interested in building a sense of belonging.
What do you see?
Well, I see a city that is composed of many different cities and many different communities and many different cultures, and that's why it's so fascinating about New York.
The foundation Escobedo hopes to build at the Met's latest wing isn't so much about the bricks as the mortar that binds people together.
There's like these poetic element about architecture that we all are fascinated with. But to me, it's also about the personal journey, how it makes it feel connected to a larger thing, whether it's a community or a city.
Escobedo, who started her own architecture firm in 2006 in Mexico City, has spent much of the last decade and beyond building and renovating pavilions, museums, and hotels all around the world. Her designs are inventive, provocative, and like New York City, constantly evolving.
Is there a way to define your style?
I don't like to think about style so much as a set of preoccupations that we have, but I feel like defining it as a style can be a little bit dangerous because then you start repeating what you do and you stop experimenting and you stop learning.
The Met has a long and storied history with builders and architects, most of them white men. Hiring a young Mexico City-based architect like Escobedo to be the first woman and the first Latina ever to design a Met wing is seen as a long overdue effort to be more inclusive.
Sometimes I get like these mixed feelings about it because I don't want to be perceived, like just like a token. No one wants to do that. But at the same time, I feel very honored and lucky to have the opportunity because I know this is a big privilege. I'm just thankful for all the women that have opened the path for me to be here.
Escobedo is no stranger to New York City. For one of her most recent projects, this store in Brooklyn, she brought bricks in from Mexico to match the color of Park Slope's classic homes, a symbol of her calling card, using space to connect cultures. The Met project will be her biggest undertaking yet. It will create 80,000 square feet of galleries and public space for contemporary works that include drawings, photographs, sculptures, and digital art pieces.
Designing a public building, you don't have a specific client even if you do, because the final user is someone who might come to the museum to enjoy an afternoon and then leave.
It might be a little girl from Mexico.
Exactly.
Who's in New York for the first time.
For the first time, exactly. And when people embrace that as a space of their own, then it's when the magic happens for me.
Enrique Acevedo, CBS News, New York.
Shout out to Frida Escobedo, the first, but not the last.